Hi, everybody. It's episode 518 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
But you might not be here.
I mean, I'm not there, but I am here.
Thank God you're not here, because then I'd have to be driving you back and forth.
Yeah.
Have you
Drew can drive me around.
That's true.
Drew can pick me up, bring me to your house, and then he can go home and record at his place. And then come and pick me up from your place and bring me home. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah. Are you still on the no driving list for the time being?
Doctor says play it by ear. Try to strengthen my my foot and ankle. When it comes to this weekend, I'm going to say no. But it's all I don't feel comfortable enough to drive at this point. My foot is still not strong enough to drive. Like, driving's not hard, but it's the adding a lot of pressure to, like, say, braking, and especially if there's an emergency brake or something like that. That's where I'm more cautious about.
Understandable.
You've got 2 feet.
Yeah, but you're only supposed to drive with one.
Supposed to.
Unless you're driving manual and you drive with 2.
But, like, you'd still only be driving with one. You'd just be driving with the opposite that you're normally driving with.
Yeah, but my left foot can't reach over that far.
I mean, you just might have to sit weird. It's fine.
No,
I get you. Like, there are times where, like I have used my left foot, like, if I hurt, like, my right ankle or something like that, and it is a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is slightly uncomfortable and very weird.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You should not drive with your left leg.
It's fine.
No. I mean, I guess that if you've been driving your whole life with your left leg and you've taught yourself how to drive with your left leg, yes. But if you're somebody who's always driven with your right leg and you're temporarily driving with your left, just don't do it. Don't do it. Like, right now, I have a wedding out in Scranton, PA in September. And that's what, like, my ultimate goal is, to be able to be comfortable to drive 2 hours out to Scranton and back.
Cruise control.
No, I mean, yes, but no, because it's the emergency brake that's the issue. It's not hitting the gas. There's no pressure to the gas. It's what if there's an emergency brake?
That's when you use your actual emergency brake.
Use the e-brake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, you just set the speed all on the cruise control and then just use your left foot on the brake.
Yeah.
It's no right foot at all.
Yeah,
but we're I'm hoping I'm a week out to yesterday. I'm hoping by next week to have enough strength to feel comfortable enough that I might try to drive around my block and see how things are. But it really is just like, to drive, I need to take the boot off, put on a shoe, drive, and then once I get to where I am, take the shoe off, put the boot on, and then walk around where I'm at. And if, like, I just was doing post-work activities, like making dinner, feeding Chase, going to the bathroom, and I took the boot off and I'm in kind of pain and discomfort. So it's like, if I go out walking around a lot, I'm going to be in pain and discomfort. To then have to drive with that is just it's not going to be a good idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get you.
Right. So right now, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do about this wedding in Scranton, because if I get a room, I'm getting a single bedroom. But if, like, my mom was like, "I'll have your dad drive you up and hang out for the weekend." Like, but I'm not going to be in the room the entire weekend. So if I get a single bedroom, me and him have to sleep in the same bed. So I'm trying to figure out: do I get a single bedroom? Do I get a double bedroom?
You sleep on the floor and you give your father the bed.
Yeah.
God.
Or I see if I can get a cot or roll out bed. Or I was thinking of doing an Airbnb. They have a few that are pretty close that aren't too expensive, but kind of just want to be in the hotel because that's where the reception is. It's where
that's definitely easier.
It's just easier to do all that, but it's saving $300 by getting an Airbnb.
How close? Or I'm sorry, not how close. What part of September is it?
It's the beginning of September, so
you get about a month and a half.
Yeah, a month and a half.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, but let's get going.
Don't tell me what to do, sir.
I'm gonna.
What's on the agenda?
So we all watched. Can you call that a movie?
I don't fucking know.
I don't know. We watched something called The Room. Then I watched X-Men Apocalypse. Cobb, you played Stardew Valley. And I ended up playing Cakey's Twisted Bakery, as well as I played Tribes of Midgard story mode over the past few weeks and finished that off.
Oh, is it Kiki's? I thought you said Cakey's in the...
No, I said Cakey's. Did it sound like I said Kiki's in on here? No, it's Cakey's. It is.
Yeah. I thought you just said Kiki's.
No, it's Cakey's.
Yeah. So, The Room.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this right here, right now, Drew. You're not going to like this. You are never allowed, Drew, are never allowed to complain about picking bad movies ever again. Never. Because here's the thing. We have picked some questionably bad movies. Jingle All the Way 2, for instance. But we picked these movies.
We knew that was going in, that was going to be bad, and we knew this was going to be bad going in.
And we knew this was going to be bad. However, we never picked a movie that is famous for being bad.
Not fucking true at all.
I definitely have, like Silent Hill when I picked that. That's
and Fantastic Four.
Those are bad movies. Those are questionably bad movies, but they aren't famous for being bad. No one talks about them like they talk about The Room.
Yeah, because nobody nobody talks about those movies because they're bad. The Room is like
so bad that
bad it's good.
No, it's not, though.
It's a good bad movie.
No, it's not. Here's the thing. There's a difference between a movie like The Room and a movie like Sharknado and a movie like Velocipaster, and that is the ridiculousness of it. This movie, nothing fucking happened, except Tommy Wiseau killed himself. That's it.
You're so angry.
This movie sucked, man. I don't understand why people like it.
In an alleyway. Because it's bad. They like it because it's bad, and
it's not a good bad though. Like it
definitely is.
It's just horrible.
I don't know. I had a morbid amount of it's not good,
it's bad. It's bad.
Here's the thing. I skipped 10 minutes of the fucking movie because there was 10 minutes of sex scenes I was tired of seeing after the first 10 minutes of sex scenes.
Okay, those were egregious. I agree.
Yes,
like the first half hour of the movie, there were 3 fucking sex scenes.
Yeah, there were.
I skipped the third one and the fourth one. I literally fast forwarded through them because I was uncomfortable.
I also think they're also the same from the first one. Just re-put it.
No, I'm pretty sure. I think you're right because some of the clips were the same. I think they only filmed sections of some of them, and then they're like, well, this wasn't long enough, so let's just grab a couple clips from the other ones, put a different bad elevator music track to it, and no one will know the difference.
I was incredibly uncomfortable watching these people poorly simulate sex.
Oh, it was so bad.
It's so bad.
I did not laugh at this movie. I did not have fun with this movie. I had zero interest in ever watching this movie because I knew this, even if this was one of those good bad type movies like Velocipaster, House Shark.
This movie's so much better than Velocipaster.
But that's the thing. Velocipaster is ridiculous.
No,
I've never seen it.
It's infinitely worse than this movie.
But, okay, Velocipaster is about a pastor who gets, bit by a velociraptor and then basically turns into a velociraptor. Is similar to a werewolf. And it is just ridiculous scenario like that where his cohort is a prostitute who then they go around killing murderers or something like that. I can't 100% remember.
Yeah, and The Room is about an investment banker that got bit by a con artist.
It just the only good person in this movie was Johnny, and I feel
though?
He was. I don't think he was manipulative.
I don't know. The only time I was a little uncomfortable was when he had that pillow fight with that teenager. That was weird.
Look, the whole teenager scenario in general was uncomfortable because the kid tried to go watch them fuck.
I agree, and instead he literally got pulled in and they had a pillow tickle fight with him. That was fucking weird.
Yeah, and they don't explain that relationship because at first I thought he was one of their kids. And
he's just like...
Oh no, He's an adopted kid, basically, who's 18 years old. So it makes it a little less creepy that this kid tried to watch his quote parents fuck, but it was still weird.
That kid may have been the best actor in the movie.
I don't know. Mark's pretty good.
How about this? Drew, you mentioned it. They played football in an alley, and he tripped. The one dude tripped. Why were they all in tuxes?
I don't know.
Was that supposed to be their wedding? No, because their wedding was still like 2 weeks later after his birthday, which is when he fucking shot himself.
Also, it was shit like that. So the guy who fell was supposed to be the guy, the character to like give the like reveal speech in the end, but that actor told them, "Hey, I only have up to this date, whatever the date was, to film. Like, once that passes, I'm out. Like, I gotta go." And they took too long, so he just wasn't there, and they just had random dude who was never in the movie otherwise.
I was very confused who that random person was.
Like, unnamed, never mentioned, or never seen any other time in the movie, but they needed somebody to give this exposition, and it couldn't be Mark, like, or Johnny, so here's random character number 7.
So, do you guys know there is a remake coming of this movie?
Fucking what?
Hang on a second. Wait till I tell you who is in it.
I mean, Tommy Wiseau.
No.
What? No.
So, The Room returns. It's an upcoming American romantic drama film. Guess it's coming this year. Johnny will be played by one Bob Odenkirk.
Okay.
Which, why the fuck not? I don't know who Lisa is, but the actress's name is Bella Heathcote, and she appears to have been in actual things before. And then Mike Flanagan, who is he makes all the like the horror things on Netflix, like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. He's playing a psychologist and friend of Mark and Johnny. And Kate Siegel, who is Flanagan's wife and is also in all those horror shows, is playing Lisa's mother, the old woman from this one. Which means, like, the age gap in the original Room is obviously pretty bad. Like, Lisa in this movie had to have been in her 20s. Johnny is definitely, like, pushing 40 or 50. Probably closer to 50, because I think I saw... no one knows how old Tommy Wiseau is. That's also not his real name. But they estimate he was born sometime in the mid-50s. So in 2003, he was actually probably close to 50. And that's just funny. So like Bob Odenkirk, and the actress that's playing Lisa is in her 30s, is, you know, a similar age gap. But yeah, remake coming.
Fucking Greg Sestero is playing Chris R.
Mark
is playing the joke dealer.
Yeah. So I think that is the only tie to the original. But yeah, I stumbled across that this morning when I was looking up the movie and looking like, have any of these people done anything else? And honestly, like Mark's the only one that has kind of had a career from the look of it. Not a good career, but he's had a career beyond just this movie. Including he wrote the book Disaster Artist that the movie from like 5 or 6 years ago was based on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this movie was, man, everyone was a bad actor.
Oh god, yeah, it's bad.
My favorite scene, fairly early in the movie, Johnny goes to the florist, and I'm sorry,
you're my favorite customer. What the fuck is this scene? Like, I hated it. I was like, this.
It was my favorite scene because first off, there is no way you don't recognize this guy. There is 2003, there is not a single person in fucking San Francisco that looks like that, except for him. And for her to walk in and be like, "Oh, Johnny, I didn't recognize you until you took off your sunglasses." And then, like, give him the roses, him reach over and, like, scratch. I think there was a dog. It was either a dog or a cat on the counter and goes, "Bye, doggy." And then a lady goes, "Oh, Johnny, you're my favorite customer."
That was the other thing that really drove me nuts, is you could tell that Tommy Wiseau delivered his lines so poorly while filming that they ADR'd over every single one of his fucking lines.
Yeah.
And
that also took me out because you could like
The
his
dubbing,
voice.
the dubbing was not on for a lot of the people, and
Like
he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, but like it's not even the dubbing, but you can tell. Like, this is my problem with watching like dubbed films and dubbed movies. You can tell that they are disembodied voices. They are not connected to somebody. Not even when it comes to like lip syncing or anything. You can just tell the audio is different and it doesn't sound right. And so when we watched that one horror film last year, the Japanese horror film, I think it was Japanese.
Beginning of this year.
It was like I couldn't tell who was talking that entire movie because everybody's voice was dubbed over. It was all disembodied voices. And that's
that's fair. I also usually have trouble with like live action dubbing. Mm-hmm. Some things have gotten better. Like that Squid Game was actually like I thought it was better than it could have been.
Squid Game was good. I think I might have actually watched that subbed. I don't remember.
I watched it dubbed, and like the dub was not bad. Like I never had trouble telling who was who. Everyone had distinct voices, and it was filmed in a way where you could tell. But when it's done, when ADR is done well, you don't realize that you're hearing a recording. That ADR was not done well, and it was not dubbed to the actors well. Like it's one thing when it's dubbing different languages because there's only so much like lip syncing you can do at that point. When it's the same line being delivered exactly the same way, it just they need it to sound clearer. That audio should line up 100% of the time. Like if I take the Audacity recordings from all of us and the Discord recordings, and I line up those claps, you should not be able to tell that there are two different recordings there. Everything's going to line up perfectly. It's going to sound like one flawless thing. The levels might just be a little higher or something like that, or might distort a little bit because it's so much audio.
Right.
But like in this case, it was just they didn't have actual filmmakers. Like Tommy Wiseau was credited for 90% of the roles on this movie.
Yeah.
I
would understand something like this being a student film and you seeing this art piece that's supposed to represent and be something. But this isn't an art piece. This isn't a student film. Like Tommy Wiseau, I don't think went to actual film school. This wasn't for his film study or anything. This was just his project. I don't know anything about this fucking movie because I'm going to be honest. Prior to watching this movie, I prided myself in never having had seen this movie.
I've always actually been curious. Like it's just one of those movies where like it's because when did that one like him ranting on the roof and then going, oh hey Mark, when was that like a big thing? Was that like 10 years ago or so?
Probably.
So like whenever that happened, that's around when I'm just like, man, I am curious, but this movie is not like easily available, and I'm not going to like go out of my way for it. But I read up on Tommy earlier because I was fucking fascinated. So no one really knows anything about him. He has claimed that he grew up in New Orleans and has an entire family somewhere in Louisiana.
No. Okay. No.
He has also had interviews as recently as 2010 and claiming that he was born in 68 or 69. So like this dude is just all kinds of like hiding his stuff there. Greg Sestro though in his Disaster Artist book said that through some means of like different people they had a copy of his immigration papers that said he was born sometime in like the mid to late 50s and somewhere in the Eastern Bloc, so like Eastern Europe. At some point in the recent years, I'm like skimming the Wikipedia again. He has confirmed that he was in fact raised in Poland, I want to say. Yeah, he was raised in Poland. At some point he moved to France and did like some random jobs under the name like Pierre or something or other. So when he came to America, he changed his name to Tommy Pierre Wiseau, which is Wiseau is the French word for bird, but that word starts with an O. He replaced it with a W for some reason. And
I feel like for some reason is what you could say about a lot of things about Tommy Wiseau and his career.
Yeah, so he had that happen. He was in a near fatal car crash sometime in, I guess, like the mid to late 90s. When a car ran a red light and struck his vehicle. And that was when he decided he wanted to follow his dream of being an actor and director. So to Richie, what you said, he didn't ever study how to make films. It was just like an ambition. And he had somehow become independently wealthy while doing like weird side jobs and shit in California for a number of years, including like selling toys on the street. And apparently everyone on the movie just assumed the movie was like money laundering scheme for like the mob. And like, who knows? Right? Like,
so I have a question.
Sure.
Did he hit her?
I mean, he did in that scene.
So, like, in that sex scene, he hit her? Or was it...
No.
I don't remember him actually hitting her.
No. He didn't hit her, but in the scene where they're arguing and he's like, I never hit you, he keeps shoving her onto the couch. Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's her right now.
That happens. And then, he obviously was pushing her and knocking her over. Mine was all more about the prior to, like, when she was, oh, he hit me. Like I said, I skipped the third and fourth sex scene because I was incredibly uncomfortable. I don't know if maybe, like, he slapped her ass and she was like, oh, now I can use this against him, kind of bullshit or something like that. I just wanted to know that because, like, that whole, and again, it's poor writing, it's poor acting. That whole he hit me just came out of nowhere. His, like, when he goes up onto that roof, it's like, I did not hit her. I did not. Like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Nobody.
Like, what is going on here? Like, also, where is this rooftop that everyone can get access to?
It's their apartment building.
Oh, yeah.
No, but Mark doesn't live in their apartment. So how can Mark get to the roof?
So
I think he does.
And even if he doesn't, I will say, like, there are plenty of, like, city apartments. Not so much anymore, but, like, back then, like, yeah, like, the roof wasn't necessarily a place where you were supposed to hang out, but you absolutely could. Like,
agreed, but usually, even back then, like, in order to get access to the roof, you need to get access to the building, and in order to get access to the building, you need to have a key to enter the building to get access to the roof.
I mean, you're assuming that building had some sort of, like, door system, and it wasn't just walk in, walk up to the apartment.
I mean, even back as far as I can think, and, like, look, I didn't grow up living in an apartment complex in the early 2000s, but you would have a master key to enter into the main building. Like, the door would automatically lock when it's shut. Most buildings do that. Like, nowadays it's all electronic to get into the building after the fact. But back then you would have a key to enter the building that would then automatically lock once it closed again.
What I'm saying is not every building always had that stuff. And that building is super inconsistent. Like, Johnny's apartment seemed very nice and had multiple floors and stuff like that. But then, like, that rooftop looked pretty shitty. And I'm pretty sure that alley they were in was the alley of that building and also looked pretty shitty. So, like, and I mean, like, it was San Francisco, so also that tracks. But I think this was, that would be right around, like, the .com bubble. So.
Yeah, she works in computers.
Right.
Working in computers is hard. That was, like, the line that she said in the job that she does. Working in computers is hard. I hated the mom. You need Tommy.
Oh, no,
the mom was terrible.
Fuck her. Fuck this. Like, oh my god.
and then she mentions that she has cancer. Never mentioned again the rest of the movie.
I'm dying. You're not dying, Mom. I have cancer. Oh, you're fine. That's really what happened.
I loved when Denny had the drug dealer scene, and both the mom and Lisa are, like, yelling at him. And I'm like, the mom has never met him before.
The mom met him once.
But, like, barely. Like, didn't even properly meet him.
Yeah. But, like, that's the problem with this movie is there's so much time. You don't know how long it is between scene cuts.
You don't know how long it is in a scene. Because in that same scene, Mark and Johnny take the drug dealer all the way to the cops and come back like 30 seconds later.
I love how that is their answer too. Let's take them to the police. Be like, bitch, you call the police. You don't bring the criminal to the police.
Yeah.
And he apparently kept the gun.
I don't think that was. It might have looked like the same gun. I don't think that was supposed to be the same gun.
It was probably the same prop.
It was the same prop. It was probably not the same gun, though.
Nope. But here's my thing. I think that this movie, I think that the story, if a person that actually knew how to tell a narrative took a pass at it, the story would be totally like passable as like a rom-com dramedy sort of thing. Because like that whole story like absolutely sounds like a movie. But the acting and the bad dialogue are what kind of break it. Because it's like, it's not even all the dialogue isn't bad, but like only Tommy is into it. Tommy and the kid playing Denny. They're the only two that are really like, well, this is our only chance. We're gonna give it 120 fucking %. Everyone else is just very flat with their delivery. Until like the end. Near the end, I feel like when like the drama's happening, some of the other characters start to like, okay, well, let's just fucking go for it. But like the first like 2/3 of the movie, everyone's just like very dry, and then you have Tommy like sliding into scenes like fucking Kramer and Seinfeld, just giving it everything he's got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It is the most okayest of stories with the worst of everything else. Like nothing saves this movie. Like it's barely okay with the story, but like the acting, the directing, the editing, the cutting, the audio, everything is just fucking bad. And I will never understand it. I will never understand it.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone, like every movie is going to have people that like it for a different reason, and people do like this one because it is the pinnacle of bad. Like, I don't know if there's actually a worse movie. Like,
I mean, I'm sure there is a worse. I'm sure there's some sort of student film or something out there that was worse.
Those don't count. Like a actually released movie.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Because like you have like old stuff, and like there's definitely like some old movies. Like what's that really famous Mystery Science Theater, I want to say, did it.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Plan 9 from Outer Space. Is that it?
I don't know. I know.
Yeah, that's it. It's a 1950s independent science fiction horror movie. It is, I'm pretty sure, one of the worst movies of all time. And like,
so, it's probably Manos Hands of Fate.
That one is a notorious MST episode.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was mentioned there. I only know this one because it was they talked about it in an episode of How I Met Your Mother, and IMDb has it at a 1.6 out of 10.
Oof.
Which shockingly, The Room on IMDb is like a 3, I think.
Dude, that movie is on like the Wikipedia for that has it listed as a 1966 American independent, no budget supernatural folk horror film. What the fuck?
Here's how bad it is. You can watch it on Plex for free, and usually you can only watch stuff on Plex if you have like personal server set up and whatnot. You can just watch it on Plex.
Nice. But yeah, like this was a bad movie, but I think everyone's gonna come to it differently. Like I had more fun watching this just fucking train wreck than like that Jingle All the Way 2 movie. Even though arguably Jingle All the Way 2 was a better movie, it was the lowest, better made movie, I should say. It's just that movie was the lowest common denominator, and I didn't get any entertainment out of it. Versus like this was a fucking train wreck, but it's hard to look away from a fucking 10-car pileup.
Agreed.
I laughed in Jingle All the Way at least once or twice.
Oh, I didn't. I thought I was so fucking bored with that movie.
I found comedy in it. Like this movie, I sat there and I did everything I could to not watch it while working. And so I was still kind of working. I was running automated scripting while I was watching this movie, basically. And so it was just I was full hands into this movie. And yeah, the florist scene, you're my favorite customer. I was like, what the fuck was that? Sex scene number 2, I was like, okay, whatever. Sex scene number 3, I was over it. And I was just like, I don't want to watch this movie anymore. I don't want to have it. There's nothing is happening. Nothing is going on. Nothing makes sense. I still don't understand why they were all were they tux fitting for the wedding? Like, why were they in tuxes? Like, what was the point of all of them being in tuxes at that time?
Did you never just wear tuxes?
No.
Why not?
No.
You don't own a tux that you just wear on special occasions on football throw around day?
Explain that. And that was it. Like, that's not that's the second time they played catch. They played football, quote, played football. In the movie, the first time, the other random dude who just uses Tommy's apartment to fuck his girlfriend with or in, like, he just fell out of nowhere into a trash can,
which was actually really funny.
Like, what is? If you need anything, let me. He fell into a trash can. He's fine. He just tripped. Relax. They paid more attention to that guy than their therapist friend, who legitimately was running after the ball and fell, and would have hurt himself more. Like, that guy, they turned and was like, "Oh, you're just clumsy," and that was the end of the scene. No consistency. Nothing.
Lots of consistency. Consistently below average.
It's just, I had zero fun watching this movie. And you guys know me. I will try to find fun out of everything. I will do my best to give everything a positive review. I've kind of, like, there's a quote from Kevin Smith recently where, like, somebody asked him, like, why don't you talk bad about things? And he's like, well, I almost died twice in the past, like, 5 years. I don't want to be angry anymore. And
yeah,
that's
I've
where
seen that one.
That's a very strong paraphrase of that quote. I don't know the exact quote, but
that was essentially what he was getting at, though.
Yeah, like, I don't.
Life's too short to be negative.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative, but something like this, it just, I can't find anything redeeming about this. Even if I were with friends, like, yeah, I would quote, I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. And that's it. And then I'd leave the fucking room because just has no comedic value to me at all. I did not laugh. I did not find it funny. It was just sad. Sad in, like, not it made me feel things sad. It was just sad.
Well, you know what? Not every bad movie is for every person.
I mean,
but I'm not calling them bad movies, so don't take it that way. But it's like, you love those like old school Godzilla movies. I can't watch them.
Yeah,
they're different types of movies. Like, I'm not insulting Godzilla just because we're talking about bad movies. I wanted to make that clear. But, like, you know, like, this is sort of movie where, like, it was bad. I know it was bad. There is nothing good about this movie, but I had fun with it because it was just so fucking awful. Like, holy shit.
I was
made and released, and no one was just like, dude, maybe don't. And then, like, when he, like, still refused, like, they didn't just burn the fucking master. Like,
they did apparently, like, destroy all the high quality footage of the movie.
Oh, there was. Did they have, like, proto HD quality or something?
Well, I forget where. I'm pretty sure I saw that in there, but part of the for budgetary reasons, they were like, okay, well, all right, this all has to go. It was like, oh, here went the higher quality film. Like, oops.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I would love to have, like, been around for the making of this movie, though. Just to hear, like, what direction on the set was like.
Yeah.
It's like, George Lucas is a notoriously bad director, because he doesn't like telling actors what to do. So, like, and there are interviews with him and other people basically, like, confirming he thinks directing is done in the editing room. But, like, this movie feels like there was no real directing at all, or they deleted all the good takes.
I don't even think there was a script. I think Tommy Wiseau just made it up every scene. I think they filmed this film in order and didn't do any editing and just, all right, that's the best take. Let's go with it. and he scratched out the script for the next scene on a friggin' notepad as they were.
You never know.
I like this quote. I'm going to have the Wikipedia article up, and the co-writer for the Disaster Artist talking about his views on The Room and its popularity. And he says, "It's like a movie made by an alien who has never seen a movie but has had movies thoroughly explained to him. There's not often that a work of film has every creative decision that's made in it on a moment-to-moment basis seemingly be the wrong one. The Room, to me, shadows the distinction between good and bad. Do I think it's a good movie? No. Do I think it's a strong movie that moves me on the level that art usually moves me? Absolutely not. But I can't say it's bad because it's so watchable. It's so fun. It's brought me so much joy. How can something that's so bad do those things for me?"
That is actually a really good quote for such a terrible fucking movie.
I also really like the first sentence of "It's a movie made by an alien who has never seen a movie but has had movies explained to him," which, like, yeah, kind of.
Well, so, like, the one thing I kept thinking with all those terrible fucking sex scenes was it reminds me of, like, when a TV show or a movie has a, like a porn in it. Like, you know, like when there's, like a movie where, like, somebody's watching, like, a bad porno. Those sex scenes were what was in those, just extended past what you normally see in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also convinced Tommy Wiseau put the sex scenes in there because he thought he was actually going to get to have sex.
We don't know that he didn't.
Yeah.
There's no way his penis is that long. You saw how fucking far away from her he was? There's no way his penis is that long.
So, some of the positions and angles that they were in, even when it wasn't like the actual sex scene, were just like, what are you trying to do? And like at the one point he was shaking the rose above her head, like a bell, like calling her to dinner. I'm like, what? Oh man, everything was.
Yeah, the first sex scene had a rose. Where did the fucking rose come from?
He brought flowers both times, didn't he?
No, he brought her a dress the first time.
Oh no! In that scene when they're walking upstairs, you can hear in the background. She says, "I have flower petals and candles lit upstairs."
For the first sex scene.
Yeah, but when Denny is standing there, like as they're about to go upstairs, when he like comes in, she says that so I watched it on my laptop, so I had earbuds in, so it was like a very low line because she was already off camera saying it. Yeah, it was like a blink and you miss it moment.
God, what a fucking bad movie.
Well, shall we move on?
Yes. Don't forget, are we doing it next week or are we going to do 2 weeks ago?
I pushed everything out 2 weeks just to give us the normal buffer.
So 2 weeks is Toxic Avenger.
Okay, that's why I thought it was Toxic Avenger, but I wanted to double check.
Yes.
So yeah, in 2 weeks we will be watching the Toxic Avenger, which is available on Peacock.
Mm-hmm. The original, because I know the sequel or the remake is coming out or will be out.
Oh no, even better. So that they made a remake of that movie with Peter Dinklage. It has been declared too awful to be released.
Bullshit.
I swear to God, I saw the article earlier today.
The Room was released. Come the fuck on.
But The Room was like an independent film.
I hate when movie studios do that shit. Oh,
holy shit! So I don't know if Peacock has the director's cut, but if it does, this movie will have the first scene. We'll have a scene that is the first role of Marissa Tomei.
Oh, fun.
Which, let's see, 2023 film. Okay, so it actually premiered at Fantastic Fest back in September. Let's see. Actually, it seems like it didn't do that bad. I don't understand why it's not out.
According to comicbookmovie.com, 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, 6.9 on Metacritic.
Is considered unreleasable. Site claims spoken to the Toxic Avengers. Commercial prospects are too out there for any sort of traditional theatrical release.
Okay, so it's not that the movie is so bad, it's they just don't think it will fucking perform. Man, Hollywood is stupid.
So put it on fucking Peacock.
Yeah, or Hulu or any of it. Like, just release it. Give it to people. But no, because if they just cancel it, they get their money back. Well, actually, maybe that's not true because it technically released at a film festival.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so 2 weeks we'll be doing the Toxic Avenger from 1984, which I don't think I've ever seen. I remember the cartoon for sure.
Same.
I've seen bits and bobs of it when G4 used to do their old movie stuff. They used to do like old movies on Saturday or something like that, like old classic like movies like this, like the Toxic Avenger. And I've seen like a little bit here and there. I don't have any memory of it though, so
that's fair. Now, do we have another theme for next time?
So no, I don't think so.
Okay, so we'll figure out a theme next week then, just so we have a week to figure out the next movie. Yeah, but Rich,
yes,
you've continued the X-Men.
Yes, I continued the X-Men, and I also have a question about the X-Men after I talk about the X-Men. Well, it's about the X-Men movies in watch order. But yeah, I watched Apocalypse this week, and it is, I remember people not liking it. I remember it being said that like people thought it was bad. I don't remember. I don't know what it rated. I don't know what it scored. But in all honesty, it wasn't as bad as I remember people saying it was.
So I remember that one being more of a letdown than being bad. Because it was the follow-up to Days of Future Past, which I think even by your ratings, that is actually the best of the X-Men movies.
Yeah, so I think the problem, it's more the letdown aspect of it because it's after Days of Future Past, after Deadpool, and so it is a little, a little disconnected from itself because a lot happens in this, and I think it also suffers from the same thing that I think X-Men United suffered from. Is a lot of it could be considered a setup movie.
Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to say is the movie, I remember it being it was slow up front, and then a little too much happens in the end, and they just tried to cram too much in that never had a proper resolution.
Yeah, they also do a lot to build up Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. Because isn't that how they defeat Apocalypse? Like Jean Grey unleashes the Phoenix Force.
Jean, yeah, she gains the Phoenix Force or unleashes it or whatever to defeat Apocalypse. And so everything. I thought Apocalypse was great. I thought Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. I thought he did a fantastic job.
I feel like I remember him being just underused.
I mean, he was, unfortunately, because it was all about him wanting to take over Xavier's body. So any time that it could have been him fighting was his horseman fighting. And that again, that brings in the problem with the movie and where it loses it has a lot is that you have the whole entire scene at Alkali Lake where Jean, Cyclops, and Kurt have to go save the rest of the X-Men from Stryker, and that's where they release Wolverine and shit like that. But that whole thing takes away from the big bad Apocalypse. It takes away from it, and you lose some time with the big bad that you could have shown. Apocalypse is a terrible villain. He is different in every iteration. In the 90s cartoon, he just wants to destroy all mutants.
Wait, really?
That's really what it seems. He wants to destroy mutants in the 90s cartoon.
So it's funny. I didn't get to that part yet. Or if I did, I've totally forgotten it.
Age of Apocalypse is in the first season.
Was that okay? So I watched that season a lot longer ago.
But yeah, they bring back Apocalypse often, and it always is when it comes to the future of Apocalypse, he wants to take control of mutants and destroy all mutants, and then eventually basically just become leader of the world. Whereas in, I believe, X-Men Evolution, he just wants to rule the world, and he's this all-powerful mutant.
That's his standard. It's not that he wants to destroy the mutants; he wants to control all mutants.
Yeah.
Because he views himself as the prime mutant. essentially.
And that's kind of how he is in Apocalypse. Is he sees himself basically as God, and he sees every he especially mutants. He sees mutants as he is the Magneto. Mutants are superior, but he sees himself as a god. And so he wants to rule the world, and he wants mutants to rule over Homo sapiens. But like he ended up getting betrayed and things like that back in Forever, where he ended up sleeping for hundreds of years, which I thought was like a cool way to bring him in.
And that's pretty standard for Apocalypse.
Usually. I don't really know the full origins of Apocalypse from the 90s cartoon. It's kind of disconnected in and of itself because it was a 90s cartoon. Like they did do an origins episode for Apocalypse, but it also didn't really. It wasn't his origin. It was just I don't know. I'm thinking the Juggernaut's origin, which is even weirder. So Apocalypse is just in X-Men 90s. He's just in it. But yeah, even in X-Men Evolution. Apocalypse was resting under the Sphinx, I believe, is where his home was under the Sphinx.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I like how they stopped. It really also doesn't make sense how they stopped him, but I like how they stopped him in Evolution. So in Evolution, they pulled The Last Stand, where there was a kid who has the ability to negate mutant abilities, and so they had Rogue take his ability, but Rogue's ability should have been negated. But had Rogue take his ability and then run in and close the thing and seal Apocalypse away, and that's how they defeated him. It's pretty cool. But in this one, he does get underutilized because they have to set up Wolverine and the future of Logan. They have to set up Jean and Phoenix. They have to set up Magneto being badass. And like Magneto turning back into Magneto and his daughter and wife dying. They had so much they had to set up for just the future of the series that's also already pre-established that they really didn't need to do. They didn't need to do the whole Alkali Lake sequence. They didn't. They could have just left that out and it would have been fine.
But I think at this point it has reached that weird position where because of what was done in Days of Future Past, the timeline is actually different.
Yeah, so the timeline has changed, and so it's nice to include that so people know what's going on and how the future happens.
They also had to get Wolverine in there somehow.
But also at the same time, like that whole sequence, they could have done somewhere else.
I mean, I agree.
Like that is part of the movie where I feel like if they cut that out, this movie would have been a whole lot better. They could have also cut out Olivia Munn.
So I think that was one of the other things that people were disappointed with is they included a bunch of super popular characters from the X-Men franchise, and because they had so many moving pieces in this movie, a lot of them just didn't really get a chance to be used in any real way.
Yeah, so Olivia Munn as Psylocke, you didn't really get to learn Psylocke. Like, she just was a girl with a sword. Olivia Munn probably had like 5 lines.
Yeah,
and honestly,
I Jubilee was even in the movie.
She was a throwaway kind of character in the movie. She didn't go with them when it came to like rescuing and saving the day or anything like that. She was just kind of in the background. But yeah, she was like a cameo character. They had, which I mean, I guess makes sense because he's much older. He's a kid now, but he's in fucking Germany, so it doesn't make sense. They had Warren Worthington as Angel in this, even though in The Last Stand they had Warren Worthington as Angel, and he's like maybe 10 years older. But The Last Stand is maybe it works. Last Stand is like 2005, so I don't know.
Yeah, like that timeline isn't as far apart as you think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything is skewed after Days of Future Past because nothing is happening like it did in the original timeline now. Yeah. Which is how you end up in that weird timeline at the end of Days of Future Past where like Jean is alive. Because technically she's alive at the end of Dark Phoenix, which means like X-Men and X-Men 2 never happened.
Yeah,
or at least
like
don't happen the way that they happened in those original movies.
Yeah, it's all rearranged now. It's a new timeline that's been so like these movies stick to the watch order, like the release order is the watch order timeline because even Days of Future Past or not Days of Future, but First Class is like maybe you can watch that first, but it's becomes its own story.
Yeah, you really can't watch it first because you watch that first, and then you're just like, well, who are all these fucking characters?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
None of them show up again except for Professor X, Magneto, and Mystique, and they're all wildly fucking different in the original X-Men trilogy.
Yeah. So yeah, like overall, I thought it wasn't as bad as people originally say. Like Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 47, Metacritic gives it a 52, IMDb has it at a 6.9. So like I feel like okay, maybe mid-tier score, something like that. I would probably put it closer to like a 7 out of 10, like a 70%ish. Definitely better than United and Last Stand in my opinion. Better than X-Men Origins Wolverine. Probably on par with the Wolverine, I would say.
All right. So I've been keeping track, but I realized I didn't have Deadpool last week. So prior to today, you had Days of Future Past as your number one.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men, from 2000, I want to say, is your number 2.
Uh-huh.
And then you had First Class at 3.
Uh-huh.
The Wolverine at 4.
Okay.
Last Stand at 5.
Okay.
Origins at 6. And X2 at 7.
All right, I would put Apocalypse smack dab in the middle. Probably tied with the Wolverine, but like they're like kind of it's hard. I would probably put Wolverine first.
Okay, so I will move the Wolverine above that then.
And honestly, just because of how much of a tonal difference it is, and just how much of a different movie it is, I would put Deadpool at number 1.
Really?
I feel, but like because it's so different, it's hard to compare it.
I put Deadpool with an asterisk.
Yeah, that's really what like Deadpool is its own category when it comes to these movies. It feels it's such a tonally different movie, a different kind of movie. It's an R-rated movie. Like it is,
and it's more comedy action than drama action, like most of these are.
I can see myself rewatching Deadpool more often than I can see myself rewatching First Class, or not First Class, Days of Future Past. But I think they're both very good movies. I feel like if I had to put it at a spot within this line, it would be before Days of Future Past.
Okay, that's fair.
Just because it's a different kind of movie. That's really all.
And I can understand putting the Wolverine ahead of Apocalypse because you're coming off of, frankly, like a movie that didn't have him in it at all, that was completely separate from that original trilogy of films.
Yeah.
But then connecting back to the original trilogy of films, the last time you saw him was Origins, which had a lot of issues. And then you get to this one, and like the Wolverine had problems, but it was actually still pretty decent.
Yeah, it was a solid movie, and that's kind of where Apocalypse is with me. Like it has its problems, but it is a solid movie. It is not something. This is a movie that I can see myself like wanting to rewatch again. Whereas like anything below this, like this is kind of the cutoff at this point. Anything under this is I don't care to ever watch it again.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen Apocalypse other than the one time in the theater. Mm-hmm. But I didn't hate it, I don't think, at the time. I just think I was a little bit let down because the previous movie was really good. And actually at that point, like Deadpool was also really good. So it's like, hey, they had 2 good movies, and then this one was just like, all right, it was fine.
Yeah, and that's what it's
Dark Phoenix was the one that I thought was not very good.
Yeah. Which I'm a few weeks away from watching that. Now, my question. The next movie I'm slated to watch is Logan. However, Deadpool 3 comes out in 2 weeks. I know they reference Logan in Deadpool 2, just very briefly at the end when he's teleporting or time traveling. Should I watch Deadpool 2 because I have plans to go see Deadpool 3 in 2 weeks? Or should I stick with my watch order and maybe try to fit in Deadpool 2 and 3 next week or in 2 weeks?
I think you should try and get Logan and Deadpool 2 done before you go see Deadpool 3.
I definitely could do that.
Yeah,
I could honestly probably I might be able to fit them both in this weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like one of those like watch Deadpool 2 like next. Well, because when are you going to go see Deadpool 3?
We haven't really set up plans yet. I don't even know if there's any more tickets. I'm sure there's tickets left. No one goes on movies anymore. But like I got to talk to Paul still because he has to come down here and get me. So we got to figure all that out. But it was the plan is to go opening weekend. I just don't know when we're gonna go opening weekend.
Yeah, so like if you just find a time to like sneak Deadpool 2 in like between this weekend and next weekend, like
yeah, I might be able to just watch it next Friday and then watch the movie when we see it because I'm sure we'll be seeing the movie on Saturday or Sunday. It's not going to be a Friday watch. It's going to be Saturday or Sunday. But okay, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to just do 2 movies next week or do 1 movie this week, 1 movie next week, and then go to Logan the week after that. That's really where I was trying to figure out.
Well, so I only say to try to squeeze them both in so that you've seen kind of all the movies that will matter
that are
potentially
connected before Deadpool. Yeah,
because
makes sense.
Wolverine doesn't show up in Dark Phoenix at all.
Yeah.
I think it is the only X-Men movie that Hugh Jackman did not cameo in, or it didn't at least cameo in, and he's not in New Mutants either. So as long as you have Logan and Deadpool 2 done, you'll be like ready for any like stupid jokes they make at the expense of any of those movies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that. So we'll do. It'll be Logan next week, and then Deadpool 2 the week after before seeing Deadpool 3. So in 2 weeks, I'll have 2 X-Men movies to talk about.
And dude, I just pulled it up real quick. The 1:00 showing at the Deptford AMC next Sunday, the 28th. Mm-hmm. There are 5 people seeing it currently.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
So I'm not even worried about finding tickets to go see that movie.
Yeah, like that's
no one goes to the movies anymore, which is fine. Like I like going to the movies, but I also don't go to the movies. It took me until it came out in VOD to watch Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah, like I might try and go see Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm curious. It's the first like superhero movie in probably 2 years that I'm actually like I want to see what bullshit they do in this one.
It's also the first superhero movie in a year. Or no, 8 months, something like that. 10 months.
But like I still haven't watched Guardians 3 or Captain Marvel or The Flash.
Yeah.
Or Aquaman.
Well, I mean, yeah, I haven't seen Aquaman or The Flash, but I'm not going to watch The Flash because fuck Ezra Miller.
I just want to see the Michael Keaton scenes, to be honest with you.
Here's the thing though. Like, I want to watch The Flash. Fuck Ezra Miller.
I mean, yes, but like I don't want to watch The Flash because every scene I've seen from it looks fucking terrible. Yeah, but I also just want to see it because I want to see what they do with Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah, I've seen some. I've talked about a Corridor Crew. They break down CG and whatnot, and they did a couple of scenes from Flash, and it's bad. It's fucking bad. I don't understand how DC could have done that bad with CG. Like, it looks like a Tommy Wiseau style CG in some of these things.
That's great. Oh. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about with the X-Men though?
No, I can't say I was surprised because I did like Apocalypse when I saw it, but I generally enjoy just all of these superhero films. I find enjoyment out of most of them. There really only have been 2 that I've thought were bottom of the barrel, and that was fucking Black Panther 2 and fucking Black Widow.
Well, I didn't hate Black Widow. It was unmemorable, but I didn't hate it.
I thought Black Widow 2 was just bad. It was boring. It wasn't good. And then I thought, oh, we've already been over this. You walked out of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I mean, not on purpose. Like, we kind of had no choice. Like, the movie was just being ruined by the people in the theater.
But I think like that movie was just poorly advertised and poorly put together. And
yeah, it was an hour too long,
incredibly too long. With so that's the thing. Like that movie did kind of what Apocalypse did, but instead of cutting it down and making it shorter, they made it longer. So like Apocalypse added a bunch of scenes that really didn't need to be necessary, but they still kept it under 2 hours. I think. What is the runtime for
It might have been
Apocalypse?
just over 2 hours, but Black Panther 2 was 3 hours. And like, I think Riri Williams, actually a really cool character.
Apocalypse was 2.5 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But like Riri Williams, super cool character. I like her a ton in the comics. I was looking forward to like the series they were going to do with her. There was absolutely no reason to make her a focal point of this movie.
No.
It didn't fit with the theme of the movie. Like, just it made no sense. And she felt like an afterthought in a lot of it. And the actress that plays Shuri, like she's got good comedic timing, but like she's not strong enough to carry those movies.
I don't like her, so I just immediately was so upset when she became the new
she
Black
also
Panther.
seems like I remember like there was some COVID stuff where she was just super shitty about it.
She's an anti-vax. She's anti-LGBT. Like, she is
I
a
didn't know
bad
that.
person. Yeah. Well, she has posted anti-LGBT things due to her religion, but she's like taken them down. And yeah, she's also anti-vax because of her religion. And so a lot of the reason the movie got delayed was because they had to postpone filming because she could not like get into the UK or get out of the UK or wherever they were filming. Like, she couldn't go there because she could not leave anywhere and travel because she was not getting vaccinated.
Right.
And also, apparently, I thought it was much longer. Wakanda Forever is 2 hours and 41 minutes. I could have swore it was over 3 hours.
Yeah, I thought it actually hit 3 hours. It felt like it.
It felt like it in the first hour.
Yeah, I don't know. But moving along, I've played a lot of Stardew Valley.
I did not know you liked Stardew Valley.
So it's a game that I've like dipped in and out of here and there. And I usually only make it to like early summer. Like, I get to early summer and then I'm like, all right, I've gotten enough of this and stop playing. In a bunch of cases, like I just played like the first few weeks of spring and I like run around, do a bunch of stuff. I'm like, all right, I've had my fill of this. This time, like I am only in early summer so far, but that is still like I started over the weekend. So like I think I started playing on like Sunday. So like I've done quite a bit over just like a handful of days, and it's enjoyable. I'm also, because I'm playing on the Steam Deck, I've been going in and messing around with the mods and then just reloading my save. So it's fun seeing all like the stupid shit the mods let you do and like kind of breaking the game a little bit, but knowing that it doesn't actually impact anything. So like I have the two like cheat mods on right now. One of them is literally just basically lets you do everything. You can teleport to all of the main locations right from the beginning. So you can teleport to like the mines before the mines are open. You can teleport to the new island location that was added in one of the more recent updates before that's ever available. You can get up to like the bathhouse and the railroad early, like all that sort of thing. You can go to any level in the mines right at the beginning. So you can just warp yourself right to floor 120 of the mine and just complete the mine. You can also like freeze time. You can change like the time. You can change the time of day, the day of the week, the season, and the year. So you can actually push it as far as 30 years into the game. I don't know if that's how many years you can play the game before the game like doesn't continue anymore. But 30 is like the limit on that. And you can just give yourself all of the bag space that the game provides. Up like your movement speed, turn on like infinite health and infinite energy, like all the normal like cheaty things. But you can also go in and like set all of the characters to max hearts, which actually breaks the game. If you go in and you just set every character in the game to, I think it's 10 hearts is like a full row. You cannot do anything until every single cutscene plays out for every single character. I found that out the hard way, and it was actually kind of funny because like a cutscene, like you exit or enter an area, and a cutscene starts playing instead of you actually entering that area, and then that cutscene ends and goes to load you back, and because there's another cutscene pending, it just loads the next cutscene.
Yeah, because you reach your relationship levels, and everybody who's in like that spot when you're supposed to activate that cutscene, they're gonna activate it. It makes
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't necessarily break the game. However, the people that you're trying to romance, they are going to be upset with you at some point, and your romances are going to drop because you technically cheated on them with other people.
So you can also set it to no romance decay. So, or no friendship decay. So your hearts will never go down.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like that.
So, like I said, like I'm not I was messing around with them, but purposely reloading the day so that none of the stupid stuff I was running around doing actually had any impact on the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun to kind of like turn things all the way up and see what sort of like bullshit you can do.
Yeah. I have when it comes to mods like that, I get a little annoyed that people feel the need to have them. I'm not saying you have the need to have them, but I'm just saying in general. Like I know someone that I would never tell them this because I don't want to upset them, but they play where mining and chopping down trees, they have a mod where it's one hit for all of them.
So that's one of the other things that's like built into this.
They also have a mod where if they go into the mines, time stops.
So they are probably using this mod because that's all things you can do here. And like,
I don't like they play with that mod. Like that's how they choose to play. And if that's how they choose to play, sure, whatever. I don't like that because that takes out the not the strategy, but that it takes out some core aspects of the game.
Yeah, I think it hits the point where like if you're several years in and you've kind of done all of the milestone stuff and you're really just grinding for like stone or whatever, then sure, like throw on the thing that's going to make that process a little bit easier. Especially if you're at that point where like you could also just go buy it. It's like, yeah, you know what? Like either one of them is viable for you. Like you can go spend 1 million gold and just make that 1 million gold right back because you're 5-6 years in and you have 30 machines that all make you items that sell for hundreds of gold anyway. So like doing some of that stuff like late game when there's not really any like objectives anymore isn't that different from like buying the furniture catalog and just spawning all the furniture. But like playing from the beginning, like yeah, that why even play at that point? Like you're not really getting any game out of it. Like the one thing I did do as part of the game, and this was my fault. I went to upgrade my water can, and I forgot to do any watering at all, including like putting water into like the dog bowl and everything. Because I had just gotten, like when I woke up, I got the little notification that I think I had upgraded the pickaxe, that the pickaxe was ready. So I just went right over there without doing any of the normal stuff. And I'm like, okay, well I'm here. Here is my watering can to upgrade next. And then I get back, I'm like, shit. So I did pop the mod open, and you can set the weather for the following day. So I did just set the weather to rain, so that at least the dog would get water, even though I don't think that really matters.
It doesn't matter. I've spent months without watering. I've spent weeks without watering my dog's bowl, and he's still there.
Like, I still went over and petted him, but I'm just like, I feel bad that it's summer, and I didn't give you any water. Yeah, it's just going to rain tomorrow.
The dog and cat are just always there. They don't leave no matter what.
I know that, but it was just more one of those just like, man, I don't really even have any crops right now because it was like the change of the season, so most of the stuff was dead anyway. Mm-hmm. It's just like, man, I forgot to give you water. I'm going to just let it rain tomorrow so that there's water in the bowl. Yeah. But then like I was also, so the other mod that I put on is an item spawner, which is even more fun to play with because you can literally spawn any item of any quality. So like I was doing it. I was talking to Erica, and I'm just like, name like a late game item, and she named like there's like a wand that you can buy for like I think she said it's 2 million gold that just teleports you back to your farm no matter where you're at. So like I just spawned. I think that was one of the few items that you can spawn one of. But in a lot of cases, anything you spawn is 999 of them. Mm-hmm. So like I could see like a situation where like you miscounted and you needed like 10 bars of silver, or not silver, iron, and you forgot to make the 10th bar, and you have like the ore, but you don't want to wait for it, and wanting to spawn like 1 bar of iron and looking and being like, well, I guess I'm going to spawn the one, use it, and then throw away the other 998. And then also throw away one of the ores just to like even things out.
Or you could just go make it. It really takes no time at all.
Oh, the iron took so fucking long to make.
It might take like an hour in game time or something like that. That's the thing. Like I had this argument with Starfield. Somebody had mentioned on Discord that like somebody played Starfield and they played it with like 70 something different mods, and
I remember you talking about this.
Without those mods, the game is unplayable. Then you didn't fucking play Starfield. You played something completely different.
I mean, that game was unplayable though.
That game was shit. It was garbage. It was like they tried to make a big deal about like, oh, there's so much, but no, it's all fucking procedurally generated blank worlds that mean nothing. But like that's part of the game. My Time of Portia, same thing. Like it takes an hour or two in game time to get something done. Oh, I needed one more of these. Oh, damn. Now you just gotta wait. It's just a fucking video game. Who cares?
I don't know.
Just wait.
That's the sort of stuff where like I would end up just not playing anymore because like I get bored with waiting for that stuff. You play a lot of these survival games though, so it's definitely a different thing for you.
For me, it's like you get to a point, like I'm at a point where I have so much of the current supplies and materials that I have that like I still make sure to have a plethora, but I've got like 50 of everything. And that's generally how you do in all of these games is you get to a point where even if you need that one more, like you grabbed the wrong amount. You grabbed 9 instead of 10. Yeah, it's unfortunate you have to run all the way back home, grab the one and run back, but at that point you should have a horse and you should be able to move faster.
I didn't even know you got horses.
You can get a horse. You can fast travel through the minecarts faster to get back home. Like,
so I don't have the minecarts yet.
I'm just saying, like at a certain point, like you can, even having to run home won't take you half as long as it used to where like when you have these situations where you're missing that one item or whatever. But it's also at one point or another you're not. There is an end to those games. There's an end to all these games, and like obviously, and I don't mean like roll credits end. I mean there is just going to be a point where you're like, all right, time to start a new farm.
And like to be fair, like I will almost certainly never make a full year. I don't get that sort of enjoyment from like the survival simulation games. Most like I will maybe get through the fall before I kind of like fall off of it. But it's just kind of fun, like running around and doing stupid stuff, and then like playing the game correctly to like progress it to then do like more stupid stuff in a different season and kind of see what happens.
I've played Stardew 28 hours on PC, which is really low. I thought it was more, and probably a good 40 hour, probably a good like 30 hours on Switch. Still have never made it to year 2. Like I've never also made it to year 2. Like I've never made it past winter. But it's just because there's always I play it when I'm in a lull, and then something else comes out and I stop playing it, and so then I just restart.
I mean that's fair. I've also never continued to farm. Like anytime I've always just restarted because I'm never far enough to pick it up. But if I was far, I would just pick it back up from where I left off. But that's also like that is just a difference between us. You would rather restart a game, and I'm just like, nah, it's cool. I'm 8 hours in now. I'm just gonna fucking start where I left off. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
But that's the thing. Like, I will restart if it's been 3-4 months since I played.
No, man, I'll go years not playing something, and I'll just pick it up and be like, I'll fucking figure it out. It'll be fine.
It's also like certain games, not specifically Stardew, but there are some games out there. Like I do that with almost every time I played City Skylines was a new city. Because there's just something to the beginning of the game that makes it more enjoyable to build a city from beginning to end.
You like the building more than the maintaining.
Yeah. Like I do like to maintain, but I've had cities that I spent 20 hours in that like gets to a point where I'm just like, it's just broken and I don't know how to fix it. And so then there are times where it just becomes incredibly more frustrating to have to fix than just to do.
Yeah, which is fair. I will say that there's one mod that I do have that is one that I use. And it just tells me whose house is whose on the map and like what person is there. Mm-hmm. So like 'cause I don't know who the characters are, and it's really hard to keep track of everybody when I don't play that much usually. So knowing like, okay, this is that person, this is the house I have to go to talk to them, makes it a lot easier.
Oh, my algorithm always just looks at me and is like, oh, he's back on that shit again whenever I'm playing Stardew. Because it's just me constantly, what's this person's favorite item? What's that person's favorite item? What's this person's schedule? What's that person's schedule?
Oh yeah, I don't look up any of that stuff.
I look at, because like I generally know most of the people I've romanced favorite items. But I can never remember their schedules, especially since their schedules change each season. And it's usually like, oh, I need to find this person or that person. Or it's specifically the beginning of the game when you have to meet everyone. And I always have trouble meeting like one or two people that I always have to figure out their schedule for.
Yeah, I mean that was why that mod was super helpful, because of that particular situation where I'm like, I don't know who I'm possibly missing. I've spoken to every single person that I have seen multiple times.
I bet you were missing either the wizard.
I don't think the wizard counted towards it, because it takes a little while to get to the wizard.
The wizard does count towards it, I think.
Oh, does he?
So you're either missing the wizard, you were missing, what's her name, Leah? She lives in the cottage by herself.
No, I talked to her a couple times.
Or the dude who lives on the beach.
So the guy on the beach was definitely one of them, and then the kid who's a douchebag and an alcoholic.
Oh, he's easy to talk to, because you just go to Joja Mart.
I never went into Joja Mart.
Yeah.
I had no reason to go in there, so I just never went in there.
I go into Joja Mart once every playthrough, and that's to talk to him, and then I never go in there again.
Yeah, like I eventually saw him walking and realized that's where he was going.
Yeah.
But it was after I had already talked to him, just like, oh, that's why you're never on the fucking map. Because it doesn't, I don't think it shows, it doesn't, when you hover over Joja Mart, it doesn't tell you that he's there. It only tells you people when they're in like the houses.
I think he's considered, like, they're all NPCs, but I think he's actually fully considered NPC to the point where you can't really have a conversation with him that much when he's in Joja Mart, which is probably why it doesn't actually show you.
Oh yeah, maybe. But yeah, that knowing where people are on the map was super helpful for like that stupid stuff. But like when it comes to like what people like and what their schedules are, I just run around and I just give people whatever bullshit I have, because I sell everything at the end of the day anyway. I either sell it or like put it into like a thing to make it something else and then sell that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I give a lot of people fucking like mayonnaise and random fucking stones and shit I find in the mines. And
nice.
Some people are just like, oh, this is wonderful. Other people are just like, why the fuck are you giving me this?
Yeah.
And like, there are only like 2 people in that entire fucking town that aren't like super shitty when you give them a present they don't like. Like, so many of these people are just like, why are you giving me your trash? I'm like, this is a precious gemstone that the dude just broke out of a rock. Like, show a little gratitude.
Why are you giving precious gemstones? And why not give, I don't know, fish? Or, I don't know. It's really
because
only...
I fucking hate the fishing minigame. I won't do it unless I have to.
Fishing minigame is honestly one of the better fishing minigames out there.
Nope, I did it like 3 times. I was fucking miserable. It took me so long to catch a fish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are some fish that take a while to catch.
So maybe I just got unlucky, and the first fish I tried to catch was like a hard one. But there was no discernible pattern to be able to keep that block moving. I ended up just giving up. I didn't even actually catch the fish.
Yeah, I mean, there are some fish, and I don't know if it's specific fish or if it's just sometimes you get a hard fish to catch. But there are some fish that makes it really hard. They're just really hard to catch. Sometimes when you're fishing, it's really easy to catch. There are times where I don't click the button at all, and it just sits there and slowly goes up, and I perfect it because it didn't fill up. Like it's one of the better fishing mini games.
There are so many other things to do in that game. I'm just never going to fish again. Fishing
is the best way to make money.
Mayonnaise sells for a lot.
Fishing is still like, because in order for mayonnaise to be reasonable, you have to have your own chickens, which means you have to have a barn.
I do.
And you have to manage the chickens. But yeah, you have to have a coop, you have to manage the chickens, and you only get like 1 or 2 eggs a day. Depending, you get 1 egg per chicken per day.
Yeah.
Like it is you get some good money, but like you can spend an entire day fishing and get like enough to buy all the backpacks in like a day or two.
But that's like a waste of having any sort of fun with the game for me. Like it's still a game. I'd still rather have fun than min max.
No, I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying, like in general, like in when it comes to Stardew, the best way to make money is fishing.
Yeah, but it's a bad time. I'd rather just sell mayo and all the random shit I pay. Like I don't keep anything really. Like if I can sell it, I sell it. I try to give it to people. I donate anything new that says like what's his name can tell you more. I donate to the museum, and then everything else I just sell. Like I keep like the actual resources, like the copper and iron and like the wood, but everything else I just fucking sell. Like if it's like a random stone and I don't have anyone to gift, goes in the shipping box. Vegetables and things that I pick goes in the shipping box.
Nope. Don't
doesn't do me any good keeping it.
Don't like it. It does do you good. You hold on to it, and then you can eventually craft more stuff with it.
What am I going to craft with fucking what artichokes or whatever, the parsnips?
Food for when you go into the mines?
It's fine. I just eat whatever the things in the mines drop.
They don't always drop stuff.
No, I have a bunch of the bug meat steaks because they keep dropping bug meat.
Yeah,
and that's plenty. But
watch TV every day. Make sure to get the recipes. Check to see if the spirits are happy with you or not.
Oh, so
enter your farm.
I'm not going to look at the spirits anymore because that fucked me.
Why?
So apparently, if you're lucky, there is a higher % chance that you get struck by lightning. I did not know lightning was a thing in the game. I got struck by lightning 3 fucking times in a row. It destroyed everything on my fucking farm.
I've had things in my farm struck by lightning. I've never been struck by lightning myself.
Yep. So I had like this area that had like next to the house. It was like a plot of land with all like the vegetables and stuff growing for the spring, and then behind that I had some of the furnaces to make the metal bars. And then I had. Did I have a scarecrow? And I had a scarecrow there too. And so I was in the garden and like grabbing things at the end of the night, and that got struck by lightning. The entire garden was destroyed, and I lost a bunch of health. And then I'm just like, well, what the fuck happened? And I just kind of moved all over to the side, and 2 seconds later, I got struck by lightning again, and it destroyed all of the furnaces. And then I'm just like, well, what the fuck? And I was just trying to go inside at that point. Got struck by lightning again on my way inside. And then I just reloaded my save because I'm like, well, everything I had is gone now. Like, there's no reason for me to go to sleep and save the fucking disaster.
So watching TV doesn't affect whether or not you're lucky.
Yeah, but I don't want to know if I'm lucky is the thing.
It's predetermined. But you do want to know if you're lucky, because if you're lucky, then you want to go into the mine.
So I actually have no idea what the luck means other than I'm going to get struck by fucking lightning if it's raining.
You're more likely to get better drops and things like that when you're in the mine. You're more likely to like pull better crops. It's just increasing your luck of like getting better things, more specifically in the mine. Like,
okay, that's fair.
Probably more likely to get better because the rooms are kind of procedurally generated, not necessarily procedurally generated, but it's like the order
they
is
are
random.
randomized to an extent.
Yeah. So, like, you might have better luck with better rooms and things like that generate in that day.
Right. That makes sense. But enough Stardew. Rich, tell us about Cakey's Twisted Bakery.
All right. So, you guys, Cakey's Twisted Bakery is a relatively new, like, released in July, mascot horror game. It takes place, you are in a bakery. You are a kid in a bakery who is being chased by different creatures that you have to run around the bakery gathering the ingredients to bake some pies, to throw the pies at the creature to take down its health. And once you take down its health, it unlocks the next area for the next creature. And it's kind of pretty repetitive from there. Very Five Nights at Freddy's, really. It's like... It's not like a big story driven thing. It's just go do the thing and hide, and then as the further you get into the game, the more of the ingredients you can carry, which makes making the pies easier. Each of the creatures have different patterns as the way they walk around and run around and attack you. You can hear them all. It's an interesting game. It's very indie. It's so new and so small of a title that it's not even a category on Twitch. But it was, yeah. It was released. Let's see. It was released July 5th, and it was free on July 5th. So I ended up seeing it was free, and I bought it. And I know a lot of people who saw the trailers for it, and like they were like, "This looks horrifying," and it looks scarier than it is, in my opinion. I don't find monsters scary though, so it's like if you're someone who sees a scary creature and gets scared, then it might be a little bit more scary for you. But though I don't know how big of a team this game was. Very indie. Is their first game. Tiny Minds is the team, or is the developer and publisher. I spent about an hour and a half in it, and I beat the basic mode. There's 3 modes in the game. There's just normal mode. There's hardcore, where there's no saves in between, so if you die, you have to restart permadeath. And then there's endless, where you just continue to do the same thing over and over and over, which is run around, grab the ingredients, put them in the oven, pick what cake to bake, and then throw pies at the creature. And like when you look at the creature, they'll have a different colored health that determines which pie you have to throw at them. Did I ever get caught by the second monster? I don't think I did. I don't know. She walks is what it is. So if you just like keep walking around, she'll never catch you. And if you hide, she'll like stand by you and eventually just run away. So like she was the easiest, the middle one, and the first and the last one are a little bit difficult. The first one he'll walk in like a pattern, and if he sees you, he'll chase you. But if you run and get under cover and hide, he'll stop chasing you the second like he loses sight of you, basically. And the third one will go to different areas and start looking around, and you can be in front of him as he's walking to a different location. But it's not until he stops in the location and starts looking and his lights show up that that he'll possibly see you and chase after you or not. So like the atmosphere wasn't. It was all right. It wasn't too scary for me. So it was a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping it was more of like the Poppy's Playtime game that I played a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and not as much like the Tattletale game and the Five Nights at Freddy's, where it's just like this singular thing where and it was cool, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But it was cool. It was interesting to play, and like I said, it was free on the day of release. It's no longer free. It's $10. $10 I think is worth it.
Yeah, I mean $10 is a pretty reasonable cost.
Yeah, I only played it. I played it for an hour and a half, but I could put more time into it. But it's for me, it is very repetitive because it's you start out, you go, you grab an ingredient, you put it in a thing, you grab the next ingredient, you put it in a thing, and it's like to make one of the pies, you need 2 cubes of flesh, 2 things of sugar, and 1 thing of chocolate. And so they're scattered all throughout this bakery. It's not like all in one room. So you have to go run, grab 1 cube of flesh, run back, put it in the oven, run back, grab the other cube of flesh, put it in the oven, run over, grab the thing of sugar, put it in the oven. And they're not close. So it was repetitive and tedious a little bit, but it was like if you're into like Five Nights at Freddy's, especially the older original Five Nights at Freddy's and not the newer one, the I don't even know what it is, but like the actual full-on Five Nights at Freddy's game, you might like this. I think it looked cool. I think it had some cool concepts to it. It was a fun game. I liked it.
Nice.
Yeah. Also,
and you can't beat free.
Yeah, you can't beat free. Like I got my money's worth after an hour and a half.
But then you also finished something, right?
Yeah. But like I got 6 achievements in the game. Oh, you can save, sweetie. Whoa. I sacrificed, sweetie. But yeah, it was all right. I also I've been playing Tribes of Midgard for the past few weeks with my buddy Timmy on stream. And if you don't remember Tribes of Midgard, it was a Gearbox released game that's basically and this came out before V Rising, so it's V Rising but Vikings instead of vampires, basically. It came out. What was it? 2020, 2021, 2021. It was
Oh wow.
originally released as like a roguelite survival game. So you go in and you have a base and you have to go gather supplies and things like that to craft stronger equipment. And every world you go into is procedurally generated. Um, and eventually a Jotun is going to come and attack you, and you have to defend your world tree from the Jotun while doing other quests throughout the world. And every time you defeat the Jotun, they'll respawn the next time a little bit stronger. And so that's how like the base game was. Eventually, they did add a survival mode, which is just a basic story mode where you can base build and like explore the world, see what everything's like, fight all the Jotuns, and like there's an actual story to it, which was pretty cool. I liked it. I liked the story mode. You get to like learn the mechanics before going into doing the roguelite mode and learn some of the equipment and abilities and things like that. The plus sides is it's a decent story. It's a fun combat game. Downsides, the crafting in the game, or the base building in the game, not necessarily crafting, but the base building in the game kind of sucks. Because it's all grid based, but since it's isometric and top down, and it's box by box and not like bigger gridded areas, it's like a bunch of stone will make one like 1x1 block, and you have to place. I made 50 blocks, and I could barely make a big enough base for what I was trying to do, and it's
dumb.
like. It's very unintuitive base building, in my opinion, to the point where me and Timmy did not build a base in our main camp. We just had all of our crafting stations just laid out on the ground because we didn't need it. We weren't getting attacked on our base. It wasn't until like we learned about different aspects of the game that we're like, okay, we need to build a base around this and that. But I tried doing a base once. I'm like, you don't need a base. You just need a bunch of towers, a bunch of arrow towers, and that's it. The other problem is once you get through everything and defeat all the bosses and get to the end game, defeat the final boss, it really just becomes when it comes to survival, just survival. It's going through doing all of these world tree seeds, which are just hordes come at you when you activate them, or fighting all the bosses again. However, everything's time locked. So, for instance, there's one world tree for each region in the game. So if you're in the swamp, there's a world tree somewhere there. If you're in the lava area, there's a world tree there. If you activate the horde mode, once the horde mode is done, 20 minutes have to go by before you can even go into the world tree to do something in there. So then it's like, all right, well, if there's 5 biomes, there's 5 world trees, you go, takes you an hour and 20 minutes. To do, or not an hour and 20 minutes, but if it takes you only 20 minutes to get done them all, maybe you got one done. Maybe you can redo another, but you can't redo them all. Like, it's the amount of time it's going to take for you to have to wait. Like, it kind of sucks that you have to wait. It's also the same with fighting all the Jotuns and other bosses, the Jotuns and the Ancients. It's an hour and a half between each fight before you can go fight them again. Some of the challenges are to fight the bosses at level 10. Well, we want to try to do the challenges, but that's going to take us. We just beat the final boss this week, and that's one of the challenges is to beat the final boss at level 10, which means we have to beat it 9 more times, which means we have to wait like 9 more hours after we have to fight it, wait an hour, fight it again, wait an hour, fight it again, wait an hour. It's just everything gets so time locked that you do get to a point where you're like, well, there's nothing else to do on this map, so I'm just going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs and not do anything. Which is unfortunate. Like, I enjoy the game and combat system enough to where I liked it. To where, like, I want to keep playing it, but I don't want to sit there and do nothing, especially since I'm playing it on stream. And, like, if the crafting and base building was better and made more sense, that would be cool. Like, I built a very basic base, which was a 1 block, it was 1 block wall, so it was just like a wall placing all the way around, like 3 or 4 levels up. And it was around this little tree, and I was expecting them to go around to the entry point. And I thought what was going to happen was they were going to go around to the entry point, and their main target was going to be the tree itself and not everything around it. it ended up being the opposite. They just go and attack the closest thing to where they spawned. Which is like, all right, well, this kind of sucks then. Because then having to rebuild everything that gets destroyed and your strongest material that you can build with is stone, that's frustrating. I wish they like followed a path. I wish I could... If the hordes were bigger, but they followed a path to get to the tree instead of just fighting the closest thing to it, that would make it more like a tower defense. That would make it a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes... I get that.
Yeah. But yeah, the story was interesting. You are on Midgard, or probably Midgard, defending the World Tree. You defeat the Jotuns. You end up fighting the ancients, so the serpent Jormungandr, Fenrir, Loki's dog, Surtur, and then you go and you fight Hela, or Hel. You rescue Baldur and fight Hel, which then you go up to Asgard. And it turns out that it wasn't actually Baldur that you rescued, it was Loki that you rescued. And Loki is trying to cause Ragnarok up in Asgard. So then you have to end up fighting Loki, which he says he found a thing that lets him transport to different realms that are similar to Midgard. So and encounter other gods. And he encountered another god who was a lightning-wielding god, speaking of Zeus. And so he pulls in, the final boss is a Gorgon from Greek mythology. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So like they kind of opened it up to where maybe they'll do a Tribes of Olympus and Tribes of Egypt or Tribes of... I don't know like what any other realms of Egyptian gods are, or like a Tribes of Chinese gods and things like that, which I was like, that'd be pretty cool. I doubt they're going to do it. I don't think this game had that much of a high reception.
Yeah, I don't think so either. At least not enough of one that they would necessarily do a sequel for.
Yeah, I mean, they continue to support it, though. They continue to add stuff. They continue to do anniversary events and things like that. Like they're doing an event right now. That like it seems like they could open it up or maybe do DLC, but the game's been out for 3 years. Yeah, actually 3 years. In 10 days, it'll be 3 years. I don't think we're going to hear anything new from it, but it is Gearbox. Well, Gearbox published it. Northfell developed it. But it's good. It's a fun game. And like, I don't know, Drew, you like Diablo and you like roguelites. You might like the saga mode in this, at least.
Maybe.
Like, it's got that isometric style of gameplay like Diablo. It's not the looter like Diablo. That the whole point of the game is to go gather supplies to craft your loot to then be able to fight the big monsters and defend the World Tree. But we're gonna do that mode next week, and then we're gonna try to find something new to play that's multiplayer. We don't know what we're gonna do yet, but yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'm glad I finally beat it because I've had this game for like 2 years now. I played it a little bit when I first got it, and just never stuck with it because you need. I feel like you need someone else to play with.
That's fair. But anything else you want to say about Tribes of Midgard?
No.
Well, then that is probably going to be a show.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
So if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. They all help. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. You can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming like?
Twitch.tv/B_1. It's where I'm video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I am anticipating this Sunday, the 21st of July, 2024. I don't know when you're listening to this. It could be 10 years from now. I don't know why you would listen to it 10 years from now, but you could be. Is potentially my final session for Mario Odyssey. I have technically 12 more moons to get that I can collect. Most of them are the dark side of the moon. The last one is the darker side of the moon, as well as whatever the final thing is for gathering all the moons, and then purchasing the rest, which we only need 925 to finish the event, and we're at like 895 or 890 or something like that. So it's like there's not that many left. So if you guys want to push me to get to 999, which the last 80 out of after the 925 are also going to be just buying them, come try to push me to get those. I only need like 1,500 bits total from one person will get me there. Plus, then I have to get 5 lumens from Mario Galaxy.
How much does a subscription get you?
Only 5.
Only 5, man.
Yeah. What?
What a ripoff.
Not really.
No,
Not really.
I'm kidding.
But I mean, that's the thing. To get it's for one sub is five power moons, but 250 bits is also 5 power moons, and 250 bits is $2.50 for me. Whereas, I mean, a sub is also $2.50 for me. So you might actually save you money to do bits. This event was designed around bits, and to get the last 80 that we need, 1,500 bits from one person. That's $15 for me. That's like $20 for you.
Well, add 5 because I just subscribed to my Twitch Prime.
It's not during the event.
Oh, you're a son of a bitch.
It's only during the event. I've said this a million times.
I don't
know
listen
that.
to you.
It's only during the event is when this is live.
No, but I also forgot that I hadn't redone Twitch Prime, and it had actually reset at this point. Because I'm never going to remember to do it when you're actually live. I'm only going to remember to do it if we're talking.
Yeah. Oh no,
I actually remembered to do it the other day.
I did. I don't know. I did not know.
It's fine. I was doing something else, so I had the volume down, but you were on. I was like, oh shit, I actually have a Twitch Prime thing. Let me give it to Walnut.
If you didn't tell me that you resubbed, it doesn't tell me that you resubbed. So I didn't know that you resubbed. So thanks for the resub.
You know what I noticed the other day? Twitch was being like real weird and not actually giving the option to announce the resub.
Yeah, like I was looking and I saw nothing about.
Because normally it like pops up right at the top of like the chat when you subscribe to something. Like, let everybody know you've been subscribed for X amount of months. And because I had subscribed to the GDQ channel just to not have ads for that week. And it was actually like the third time I opened it was when it finally said, hey, tell everyone you subscribed again. I'm like,
it might take some time sometimes.
Well, this was like 3 days apart. That's why it was weird. Because it was like, I subscribed on Sunday, and then it wasn't there Sunday, it wasn't there Monday, but all of a sudden it was there on Tuesday. I'm like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, Twitch is weird, man.
But that's going to do it for this week. So we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.